I know that that appeals to you and I because we have always been so careful not to say that minimalism or living simply or any of that is one size fits all, right? Because we all have such different lives, and some of us have families and some of us are single, and our situations are so different. So like to blanket statement like everybody must follow these specific rules is just it makes it a lot more difficult. Hey, Melissa.
Yes.
I am pretty much going through withdrawals at this point because, it's been, I don't know, less than 24 hours since I saw you last.
I know. I still cannot believe you live so close to me now. And it was so fun. We got to hang out yesterday all day for your birthday. And it was just so fun. We just for everybody listening, we walked around in downtown Oklahoma City and just got to actually enjoy each other's company in person. Because if any of you have long distance friends, you know that when you're face to face, there's just like a different dynamic. And so we were able to chat and catch up without any kids around us. And it was so nice.
It was heavenly. I had so much fun. It had been 9 months since we had seen each other last.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're basically like third grade pen pals, except over text messages. And
oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah. Yep.
Hello, Melissa. Do you like rainbow ponies?
I know.
Right back soon.
Yeah. Funny story. When I moved, I was a kid in the third grade. It wasn't third grade. No kidding.
Yes.
Moved from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma, and my friend Shauna, so if you're listening, Shauna, it'd be so great. But Shauna, we would send tapes back and forth, like an actual, we would record ourselves on our boom boxes, and then we would sing to each other or tell each other stories or what's going on. Yeah.
Wow. So that was like super old school Voxer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We were
it just took weeks.
Cutting edge technology here. It was great. Anyway.
Oh my goodness. Well, so super off track. I'm glad we got to hang out. We decided not to record yesterday. We were having too much fun to jump on the mic, but here we are. Next day, rocking this out.
Rocking it. Yeah.
Let's do it.
For those of you that have been listening for a while, you know that we do all of our recording from different locations. And so we're hopeful that in the next few months, we're going to be able to actually record face to face and just get some new content out to you. That's going to be really fun. So stay on the lookout for some cool new things coming your way.
Yeah. And actually, this is just a super random thing, but would you guys be interested in ever being in the room with us when we record? Like if we did a meet and greet and we could hang out and then we could record a live episode?
I mean,
let us
know. Do that. Right? You all better say yes. Yeah. I want that to happen. Oh my gosh,
Wouldn't that be so much fun?
Yeah.
So a couple ways to let us know. You can message us on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can send us an email at hello@cohesivehome.com. Or you could also leave us a review on iTunes and just be like, this needs to happen live. That would be cool too.
Stat. Because
right
if
away.
we did a live recording in Oklahoma City, or even what if we did Waco? Oh my gosh, that'd be so fun. I'm just going to call up Joanna Gaines because, we're buds. No, we're not, by the way. and then just hey, can we use your space? Okay, we are getting so off track. We're actually supposed to be talking about living simply at home.
Yes.
And so maybe we should just dive into that now and do a horrible segue. Good job, Melissa.
Good job.
Good job. And let's talk about our actual topic.
Yeah. Okay, so we had coffee yesterday and we were just talking about our roots as a podcast and how we started talking about minimalism. That was kind of like our very early connection for Melissa and I. Go back, listen to episode 1. You will hear all about it. And, as time has gone on, we've branched into other topics because we're not just those minimalists. And we love learning new ideas and experimenting and just trying to see what fits our family's values and what's going to work for the long term. All that to say, we wanted to circle back around to living simply because we know so many of you want that in your life and you're trying to find the right path. And so today we're going to talk about 4 of the different ways that people embrace simplicity in their homes.
So for our first one is going to be Capsule Wardrobes. And we have an episode, it's episode 13, where Kate and I vividly remember recording this episode actually because I remember talking about I only had 1 pair of shorts and I literally just threw away that pair of shorts at the beginning of this last summer, and very reluctantly actually, because they were basically all Lycra and jeans, and they were stretched out and puckering in weird places, and I had a really hard time parting with those, and it was really difficult for me this whole summer to replace them. I think I kind of did with 1 pair of shorts, but I always gravitated to just that 1 pair. So for a capsule wardrobe, if you're not familiar with what that is, it is by definition, according to Wikipedia, a collection of a few essential items of clothing that don't go out of fashion, such as skirts, trousers, and coats, which can then be augmented with seasonal pieces.
Yeah, and there's different bloggers online who they have different rules or guidelines for how many pieces you should have per season, which is so funny to me because I think one of them is it's like 30 or 33 pieces, and for me, I think my whole wardrobe is less than 33 pieces. I mean, obviously my living situation is so different than the norm. I mean, my closet is, I would say, probably 14 inches wide, which is it's just insane. Like, believe me, when we have a house again, I will have more clothes. But it is so great to take these principles of the capsule wardrobe, like you were saying, Melissa, about having pieces that go together, staying in a similar color palette, and so that you can mix and match. And that has been a lifesaver for me with having so few clothes.
Yeah. And it's funny to kind of watch this whole avenue of simplicity evolve over the last few years. Whenever I think of a capsule wardrobe, I automatically think of the blog Unfancy. It's kind of the first one that I saw.
Yes.
She was really for the current wave of this. She was kind of a pioneer, right? And so I recently read a blog post that she wrote because she was like, I haven't really shown off my capsules in a really long time. And she said it was because she felt like those rules that she imposed on herself when she first started didn't serve her anymore. They served their purpose for that time in her life. And now she has curbed her shopping habits. She's curbed her or redefined the way that she looks at clothes. And so it was kind of cool to see that as she has evolved and as she's gotten older or just is moved through this season of her life, it's taken a different shape. It may not be a true capsule wardrobe anymore, but she's very intentional with how she curates her wardrobe. And so I thought that was just really interesting and cool because she's kind of put a new definition for the way that it's not so restrictive. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because people can get restrictive with it.
Yeah, and I know that appeals to you and I because we have always been so careful not to say that minimalism or living simply or any of that is one size fits all, right? Because we all have such different lives and some of us have families and some of us are single, and our situations are so different. So like to blanket statement like everybody must follow these specific rules is just,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it a lot more difficult. And so, yeah, if you're doing a capsule wardrobe, make it work for you,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out how that can be a benefit to your life, or not.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yep. Yep.
and also to touch on capsule wardrobes for kids.
Yeah. I never did that. It's just really hard for you. It was a little easier just because you guys went through a good transition and your kids are still small. But for me, and that's, again, it's different for everybody. But, we are very blessed that we have family that buys our kids clothes. And
yes,
I know there's different ways to do that, to talk to those family members. But, I never really felt it necessary. And so my kids have a lot of clothes. And so I feel like as they get older, they're more picky about what they wear as well. And so I can't like go out and just buy like all the things that match and then say, here kids, like here's your clothes. They're like, no. My girls are like, I just want everything with glitter on it. And I'm like, no, but it's not linen. It's not linen. It's so like, funny. And it's just not gonna happen in my house, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, and I think that is the big difference. Obviously a capsule wardrobe is not going to work for older kids unless you have a child that is excited about capsule wardrobes.
Yeah,
I think that would be like to have their cooperation. Now my kids are much younger than yours, and so I have an 18-month-old. I mean, he doesn't care. And so I can I can be more intentional with what I buy him and how it goes together. My girls, they still love to match. They're 4 and 7, which I think is so cute. So I can still get away with picking out a lot of their clothes for them, but they do get clothes from family members. And so there's only so much I can control with that one. And really, that's not a battle I would want to fight because I'm grateful for the clothes.
Exactly. And that's exactly where we're at too. Yeah, for sure. So moving on to our next point would be, Kate, would you like to talk about this one?
Yeah, let's talk about zero waste. If you're not familiar with that is the idea that you want to produce as little trash as possible. And so there are, oh my gosh, there's so many ways to approach it. And there's so many reasons why people are attracted to zero waste. Like for some of them, it stems out of minimalism. They just see it as another way to reduce consumption.
And, they also want to be good stewards of the earth. They want to treat the earth properly. And so that's also another driving factor.
Yes, for sure. And so Melissa and I have both experimented with zero waste, and we try to implement that in our homes. I mean, I'm not perfect at it. What about you, Melissa?
I don't even have an answer. I'm laughing because I'm slightly embarrassed. It's like, I wish I could be that thing. But okay, so, and this is just a side note. I feel like there's so many people that they move to certain places because this takes precedence. Being zero waste or eating a certain way is fundamental to how they live, and they cannot live any other way. And so they choose to say, move to San Francisco, for instance, where you have the Bay Area, you can get everything in bulk. You've got just the ease of finding compostable products or how to compost your food. And so, or moving to a farm, right? I mean, there are just so many ways that this could take precedence in your life and that you could do this. But it's something that my family and I were incredibly aware of. And we live in right off of a river here in Fort Worth. And, like just yesterday, we went down to the river, or I didn't because I was with you, but I've done it numerous times with them. But yesterday, my husband took the kids down and they picked up trash all along the river. It was like 1 or 2 bags full. And so for us, we may not be fully zero waste or even close to it, but at least we're doing a small part. So that was a little side note. Sorry, but
No,
continue, please.
Yeah. No, that's awesome because you have to make zero waste work in your life, however it makes sense to you. And so your family is so great about cleaning up after other people. It's just like a bum job to do, but somebody has to do it.
That's my husband all the way. I give him complete credit. I would never have done that, but that's something that's really important to him. And so, yeah, zero waste, I feel like, is another one of those things that could be very, there's a lot of rules, it's self-imposed rules. But it becomes for those that do achieve it. And I say achieve very, very much. It is an achievement. It's something that it doesn't feel like rules to them. It's a lifestyle, and it's a way that they've just incorporated into the fabric of their family and their life. I will say having kids is hard to be zero waste. Yeah. So a lot of the people, if you were to Google, a lot of the people that do that and are 100% zero waste are going to be single or, newly married, no kids. But again, I say that, but there are families that, that is their values, and they work at it. It's not easy, but they do it. So it's fascinating to me. I could watch zero waste YouTube videos for hours.
Know, right? Because it's so alternative and it's so appealing. I still can't put my finger on why I'm so attracted to it, but there's such a spectrum. I mean, you could move towards zero waste simply by using less paper products, like not buying paper towels and using, real towels or,
right. Which is what we talk about in episode 21. Sorry, did I totally steal that from you?
No, that was awesome. I'm so glad you said that. And so there's really small ways, or not buying produce that's in plastic bags or containers, but buying it loose and putting it in a cloth bag.
I'm looking at you, Trader Joe's. I'm looking at you.
Oh gosh, I love you, but I hate you.
I love
Trader
you.
Joe's.
I love you and
all
hate
the plastic.
you. I know. And then that's where it comes down to right now in my family's life, our budget takes precedence over the plastic, which is unfortunate that I have to choose. But yeah.
I mean, if you live in an area that has a great farmer's market, like when we were in Massachusetts for a couple of months, earlier this fall, there was this local store that was basically like an indoor farmer's market. So there was local, organic, and really very little of anything was wrapped in plastic. So I could take cloth bags and get my produce.
That's awesome.
So that was awesome. But in Oklahoma, I mean, maybe I'm wrong and I'll keep looking, but there's really nothing like that here unless I went to Whole Foods, and which, again, is an option. And then, so that's one end of the spectrum. And then the other spectrum is the queen of zero waste, Bea Johnson. She has a book called Zero Waste Home. You should just, if you haven't read it, go to your library, flip through it. You will definitely be inspired in one way or another. But her family produces a quart mason jar or less of garbage each year.
No, it's
or every couple years. I mean, again, let me say that again: a mason jar, of garbage. Now just think of your own trash can. This is not a guilt thing, but it's just it's
how
it's amazing. Yeah,
it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job.
But she says, you know what though? She says that now that they're in the habit of it, it's not they put in place certain routines on how she grocery shops and what they buy, and that they're really good at refusing things. They don't allow it into their home.
But isn't that just how any of these things are? It becomes your new normal. Yeah. It becomes the way that you the rituals and the I'm going blank on the other word I wanted to use, but just it becomes the fabric of your life, you know?
Yeah.
It becomes the way that you live and breathe. It just is habits. Habits, there we go. I was going to say at the beginning, when we started talking about zero wasters, you were like, I don't know why that's so appealing to me. And honestly, I think I know why. And at least for me, I can't speak for you, but for me, zero waste it's this like freedom. I would think, even though it would be very, very hard to get into those patterns and all that, to live like that and not just be overwhelmed with it, but to like look around someone's home that's a zero waster, it is calming.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's no clutter, right? There's stuff there, but they have reduced their waste so much that it becomes just a part of how they live their life, and their home reflects that. And so it's really appealing just for like my brain likes it to like feel like you're doing something so good.
It is. I mean, it's such a beautiful and intentional way to live. And, you know, I really hate buying anything that's plastic or wrapped in plastic. It's like I feel this internal just inside where I'm like, why? Like, I've watched all the documentaries. I've read so much on how plastic is just ruining our earth. And so to take part in that cycle, and this is not like a guilt thing. Like, I'm not trying to guilt myself or anyone listening, because we are all works in progress. But I feel it, I just feel it. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that we'll continue to work toward. My oldest is 7, and she's a huge fan of Bea Johnson. So I think we talked about that in the other episode. Like, that was how long ago? A year and a half ago. She's still talking about it because it appeals to her, and she's only 7. Yeah. So I think we're definitely
I think that's amazing.
Aw, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good. How cool is that? You're like, yeah, her like person she looks up to is Bea Johnson. I mean, like, that's like, go show that to your first grade class now. They're gonna be like, who's that?
I know, she's so. I'm raising such odd kids, but I love it.
That's great.
I love it.
Well, I will say one thing, and this is special for our listeners. One way that my family has chosen to lower our footprint, our trash footprint, I guess you could call it. I don't know. I'm sure there's a better way to say that. But is we have actually started using a company called Plain Products, and we're using that product for our shampoo and conditioner and our body. Oh, I'm about to do body wash. I got a sample of their body wash in their travel tin, and it's amazing. I love it. And I actually have a discount code for everyone listening, and I'll put it in our show notes, but it's Plain Love. That's PLAINELOVE. And so that will get you 10% off any of their products. And I cannot say enough good things about this company. It is, I guess I gave the discount code before I kind of explained what they do, but so putting the cart before the horse there, but they are a company that has reusable bottles. And so they send you, you can do a monthly subscription, or it's like every 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or something like that. Or you can just purchase one time. Just doesn't matter. And you basically have bottles that are sent to you, and then when those are up, they send you new ones, and then you send the old ones back, and they reuse them. And so there's no trash or anything. It's all either recyclable, boxes, and then the other thing is just reusable bottles. So it's awesome. I love it. And so so for 10% off, use Plain Love, and that'll be great. You should do it because it's awesome. That's all.
Oh, I think I'm going to. Can I go use that discount
you need
code?
to. Yes, you can. You need to do it. It's a small business too, and so you're kind of like promoting or helping a small business, and yeah, it's great. I'm a big fan. So
I love that. I love that so much. Good recommendation. Okay, so our next way to live simply at home is by creating light schedules, or being purposeful with how you schedule your time as an individual or as a family.
I'm a big fan of this one. Like a huge fan.
Yeah.
This one I feel like has the most impact if you have a family. I mean, it can if you're single or without kids yet, obviously it can have an impact, but you start to really feel the impacts of a busy schedule when you have kids because you have so many more people that you're scheduling for.
Yes. Well, yeah, and so I'm getting my Simplicity Parenting family life coach certification right now, which is awesome.
Ooh.
I'm learning so much from it. And one of the things that the author of the book Simplicity Parenting, Kim John Payne, talks about is how when our children are overscheduled, what it can do is, like every kid is on the spectrum of like all our kids they have their own quirks, right? Like what makes them unique. And when they're overscheduled and they're overwhelmed, it can push them into disorder. And so like behavioral issues or like becoming withdrawn or, having issues at school, like all of that can possibly stem from them just feeling totally overwhelmed with too much on their plate. Mm-hmm. And so we want to like reduce the amount of, requirements on their calendar or the things that they have to do so that they can function as their best self. So like I am just all about this for my family, as much as we can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you guys are doing a really great job of that. I mean, and especially even with all the moves and all of those things that, the lifestyle you guys have had, you've still consistently been, sorry, I'm looking at my shirt right now and I realize I have chocolate on it. I just got totally sidetracked. I'm so sorry. But I'll just say,
Squirrel.
I think you guys are doing, yeah. Yeah, if you've been listening long enough, I am like, ooh, rabbit hole, done. Let's go.
Yes.
Down we go.
All right.
Or squirrel. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I feel like you do a very good job of practicing what you preach with that, as far as like keeping things very minimal with your schedule. And your lifestyle reflects that, right? And so I feel like where it becomes hard is for those that may live a very not, how do I say this? Because every lifestyle is amazing. It just depends on what you value and where you want to put your time. And so for you and your family, you've chosen to, do some full-time travel and now you're in Oklahoma City. But other people have, stayed in one location and their kids are in school and they have, jobs and they've got sports and those are the things that make them happy. And yet they can all get so much, right? I mean, oh my gosh. So putting our kids in school this year, I can't tell you how many times I get a piece of paper that comes home that says Taekwondo for free lessons for this, or then the next week we'll have cheerleading camp, and then the next week will be like something else for like, you've got all these, just so many extra.
Do you just get overwhelmed looking at the
Yes. I mean, oh my gosh, you see the paper that comes home with them every day. I'm like, seriously?
Talk about being not zero waste, right?
No. I'm like, and
you're like, just email me. Come on.
I know.
Send me a mixtape.
Yeah. Sorry. Bring back the mixtape.
Throwback.
Seriously. Oh, man. I just don't remember having that much paper when I was in second and third grade. I don't feel like it was
It's because your mom handled it.
Yeah.
It probably was the
That's
same.
so true. Yeah, it's so true. It was also the 80s, so who knows. But it just to say all that is, it can be very overwhelming. And so you have to be incredibly intentional about how you schedule your time and saying no. I mean, it's as simple as just saying like, no. No, thanks. Or, no, I'm so sorry. I'm busy. We can do it in 3 weeks, right? Somebody asks you to do something. I would love to do that, but I can't.
Yeah, but it is so, I know for a lot of women, it is really hard for them to set boundaries, with friends and with family, because you can feel like you're letting someone down. I know I've struggled with this in the past, and I'm trying to be better about saying no, especially because now that we're back in the place where, we spent all of our 20s and had our two oldest kids, like, right, this feels like home to us. We have a lot of friends here. And I found last week, because we've only been here 2 weeks, we were having play dates twice a day. I don't even know, right? I don't even know how that happened.
But you got to give yourself some grace with that one. Because
Yeah.
you're back in your place and you just want to see everybody. And
We're
everybody
binging.
wants to see you.
We're
So,
binging. We're like, we have friends again.
Feel loved.
Woo. I know. And so it was
good,
awesome. My kids were so happy. But then I noticed that the youngest, he's just started getting like super out of sorts. I think I was kind of telling you this a little bit about this yesterday, Melissa, but it was like he would have fun at the play day and he's like, having a great time. And then we would get home and he would just like fall apart and he would just be crying and throwing himself on the floor, like abnormal behavior. And I was like, I think he's tired and he's a little overstimulated. And so
I was about to say that he's overstimulated. He's
right.
got like so many friends.
Because we were living in the woods. And so, yeah, I know, right? We were like little hermits. But like all that to say, if you feel like your schedule is too much, you'll know by watching your kids and how they're behaving.
Well, and you'll feel it.
Good barometer.
Yes, your children are an amazing barometer, but I feel like you as a parent, or just say you don't have kids and it's just you feel it. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in you feel overwhelmed, and maybe you just don't know how to stop it. And so that goes into a whole nother topic of learning how to just, lower, say no and all that stuff. But light schedules, episode 6, if you'd like to know more about what we have done in the past or what our thoughts are on that, definitely check out episode 6, because we kind of dive a little bit deeper into it on that one. So
all right, so the final way that you can live simply at home, I think all of you probably know about this one, because this is usually like the gateway drug to minimalism. And that's decluttering, like just getting rid of stuff.
Yeah. It is the gateway drug to this whole entire lifestyle. But it's also, I feel like with, that Marie Kondo book, which we've talked about before, which I'm just going to admit, I've never read it. Can you believe it? I've never read the Marie Kondo book.
It's okay.
What?
I read it once, and there were like a few parts that resonated with me, but I was a way bigger fan of The Joy of Less by Francine J. Like that was more my jam. Yeah.
And that one I have.
Yeah.
And that one I have read. Yeah. And it's a little more like practical, I feel like. Maybe, again, I've never read the Marie Kondo one, so maybe Joy of Less is a little more practical, a little more like bite off chewing thing. I don't know. It doesn't matter. A lot of people that we talk to, they typically say they've read one of those two books and it has led them into this lifestyle of simple living. And it's just amazing to me how that whole decluttering process can look so different for so many people and actually evolves so much. So like if you were to go back and listen to episode 2 and then skip to episode 12, then we have episode 34, or actually 31, then 34. We talk about it a lot. And for Kate and I, it has evolved so much. And as you just kind of get your idea of what a simple life and, the things that you want to get rid of looks like for your family, it's very freeing. It can be kind of like not so freeing at first. Sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, there's so many rules, but now I just feel very like, yeah, this is how we are.
Yeah, and once you go through that initial decluttering, which like Melissa said, it can be like a little painful and it can be hard to let go. But once you do and you kind of establish some boundaries, it feels really good. Like it feels good to me to know like, okay, I may need a new pair of jeans, and it's going to be time to let go of my old pair of jeans because I only have room for, one pair of black jeans or whatever it may be. And so it allows you to just be more intentional with your stuff and reduce the number of items that you own so you have less to maintain, less to store, less to manage, less to clean. All of those are like really great things.
Yeah. Yeah. The residual goodness that comes from this lifestyle of decluttering things is great. I mean, but again, I don't want people to, if they're new to any of these things, I mean, guess what? You may be listening to this right now and you literally Googled living simply or decluttering or any of those keywords, and you're like, oh, look at this, it's a podcast. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to listen. And so you may be like listening for the very first time to us, and just know that you have so many people on your side. You have Kate and I on your side to tell you that there is no right or wrong way. You have to look at what you value and you have to give yourself a roadmap from that. And so, if anything, that's what we can tell you.
Dang, girl, preach it.
Brandon just walked in with like more wine. So if anybody's wondering why I'm rambling too much, that's enough. That's good. It's because I had a glass of wine, and Melissa gets a little chatty after she drinks a glass of wine.
I love it. I love that.
So anyway.
Well, so that's the end of our episode. We hope that you enjoyed this, I guess, little overview of the different ways that you can live simply at home. So we want to encourage you to, one, feel the freedom from rules and regulations with all of these different methods of living simply. But we also want to encourage you to challenge yourself and maybe pick one of these four. So capsule wardrobes, zero waste, light schedules, and decluttering. Choose one that is maybe a little bit outside your comfort zone and just get your toes wet. Give it a try. See if it lends positive changes to your home, and then go from there. It's all just one big experiment. We would absolutely appreciate it so much if you headed to iTunes and left us a review for the podcast for this episode. It helps so much so that other people know that they should spend time listening to our show. And it's really like, it's validating for Melissa and I too, to just know like that you're out there, that you're loving the show, that it's helping you, because that is why we do it. We want to help you and we want to encourage you. So reviews are awesome.
Yes, we love getting emails from people. And I really just thank you so much. If you've emailed us in the past, it means so much to us. But yeah, those reviews on iTunes are like gold. So if you've been listening for a really long time and you just want to pay it forward, please, we'd love a review. So, well, until next time, you guys, we've got a great interview coming up at the end of this month. And other than that, we're just going to, I'm going to go drink the rest of my wine and hang out with my husband.
And I'm going to go to bed.
All right. We'll see you next time.